Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make raspberry jam. Before we start, we need to put a plate into the freezer. That's because we're going to use that to test when the jam is ready, and I'll show you how we do that later. And we also need to sterilise the jars that we're going to use for our jam. This is the jar that I'm going to use for my jam. It's already pretty sterile because it's been through the dishwasher, but to make doubly sure, I'm going to pour some hot water that I've just boiled from the kettle in there. I'm going to leave that to stand for a couple of minutes and empty it out, and then that should be sterile. So these are the raspberries that I picked from the allotment, and I'm going to use 500 grams or half a kilo of raspberries in my jam. The thing to remember is that however much fruit you use, however many grams of fruit you use, you need to match that with the same amount of sugar. So that's 500 grams or half a kilo of raspberries. So I've tipped the raspberries into a sieve. I'm going to give them a thorough wash before I start to use them. So because I've used 500 grams of raspberries, I'm now going to measure out 500 grams of sugar. Next, we're going to tip half the raspberries into a pan. And then we're going to add the juice of half of a lemon. Next, we're going to turn the heat on to the pan, and we're going to mash the raspberries with potato masher until it's all been pulped. Now we're going to leave those to cook for 5 minutes. So once 5 minutes has passed, we're going to take this off of the heat and we're going to tip it into a sieve. And then using the spoon, I'm going to force the pulp and the juice through the sieve until the only thing that I'm left with is the seeds. So once you've got your pulp and your juice out, you're going to tip that back into the pan. You're going to add your sugar. So I've put in the sugar and I'm going to stir it in while it's heating gently. Now I'm going to tip the rest of the raspberries into the pan. going to turn the heat up now and bring it to the boil. And I'm going to boil it on full power for another 5 minutes. So now I've removed the jam from the heat and I've taken my plate out of the freezer, and we're going to take a tiny spoonful of the jam, drop it onto the plate, and then you need to push your finger through the jam. If it doesn't wrinkle, then you need to reheat it for another 2 minutes. As you can see, mine isn't wrinkling, so I'm going to reheat mine. As you can see, I've had a few attempts. Each time that it wasn't quite right, I popped it back on the hob on a high heat for another 2 minutes. And this is my final attempt, and as you can see, when I push my finger through, it wrinkles. So that's now ready. And that's the finished jam in the jar. It will keep for up to a year in the cupboard, but once opened, it needs to be kept in the fridge. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed learning how to make jam, and until next time, I'll see you again soon.